Hey there guys, it's Rick Utze here with Airgun Web for Modern Airgunner, and this is the final episode in our series on personal portable compressors. Now I've identified what that is, a personal portable compressor, as a compressor that is small, lightweight, affordable, and really more designed to fill an airgun versus a bottle. And this is the big daddy. This is the one that I have in my shop that I use pretty much all the time for this use. I talked about what we have in the workshop. The trail charger works great for that. And when I'm out in the field, I obviously will take any of these things. The Ready Air being brand new, I've got some limited experience with that, but I've used that out on my range. All of these compressors I use regularly, from the JTS to the Nomad to the trail charger to the I use these things, and they each have a place where they have an advantage. So let's talk about some of the disadvantages that we have with the Hill before we talk about the advantages, and why, for me, when I'm just talking about filling air guns, this is probably my favorite. Okay, so disadvantages. It is not 12 volt. It is only 110. It is relatively heavy compared to the others. And it also, and this is probably the biggest downside, which may completely disqualify it for many people, it only fills to 300 bar. It does not fill to 4,500 PSI. So if you're trying to fill a small pony bottle, which this will fill a small reservoir, if you're trying to fill that, or you have a gun that needs 4,500 PSI, this is not going to get it done for you. So I love the form factor. I love the fill speeds, which we're going to get to in a minute. I love that it's built in England. I love that it's so rugged. I just love a lot about this, but it only fills to 300 bar. If that's a deal breaker, you need to know that going in. Everything else we got behind me here fills to 4,500 or 310 bar, gets you that extra little bit to top something off. So just know that going in. Now, the thing that it does better than anything else we've looked at is its automation. It's very, very smart. It has a computer in here. It has temperature sensors. So when you hit 75 degrees Celsius, it says, I got to take a pause for a minute. It says pausing for cool down, or cooling down. And then when it gets to 65 degrees Celsius, it actually restarts. So you don't have to babysit it. You don't have to come start it again. And also, you don't have to bleed it in between each one of those. It actually can start with a load on. So where these others, you really should drain them and never start them with a load, this thing can actually just cycle. It's designed to do it. That's part of that big honking motor it's got down here versus the ones over here, which have much smaller motors. This is like what you'd see on like a much larger compressor. This thing is very, very smart, and it does a great job. Now, let's talk about fill times. Let's talk about operation a little bit. So I'm going to turn this on. The first thing it's going to do, we've got that cooling fan that kicks on, and then it tells me to check lubrication. Have I checked the lubrication? Yes. You can't do anything until you confirm to it that you've looked at your lubrication levels. Again, very, very important. It has that those lubrication functions in there to make sure that it stays operating properly. Now, the next thing we're going to do is, depending on where the screen kind of pops up to, you need to set your unit. So it's bar or PSI or whatever the other one is. I'm going to use bar because that's what I'm normally using for a measure. So we're already on bar. You just rotate it to set pressure, and then I'm going to zip over to 300 bar. Okay, because we are going to test this system internally. We're going to test how quickly it comes up to its max operating pressure on the test plug. So we're going to go over here to, okay, we get the ready screen and the start. Now, when I'm starting out from scratch, I do always start with the bleeder open. Part of why I do that is it gets any residual moisture out of the system before we even get started. Okay, so I'm not going to hit start on my timer until I've closed the bleeder. Okay, as far as noise goes, this is not quite as quiet as the trail charger, but it's very manageable. And it's operational noise, not fan noise. I don't find this a problem at all. It's not a big deal to me. Okay. And here we go. And we're done. Okay, so much faster, much faster than the other options we've been looking at today. That is one of the reasons I really like this unit. Even with the cooldown cycles, we're going to get to that in a minute. Even with the cooldown cycles, this thing it fills very, very quickly as compared to the other options we have here on the table. That was 25 seconds. Now, granted, it wasn't 310 bar, but as quickly as that thing was running up, maybe it would have been 27 seconds. It was filling very, very quickly. So how did it do filling our bottle? Now, 480 cc's from flat empty to 250 bar. Let's see here. I've got my numbers. Okay, let's run down what we've done so far. The Zisico was at 25 minutes. The Ready Air was at 23 and a half. The Nomad was 23. The Trail Charger kicked butt at 16 minutes. The Hill, with 2 cooldown cycles, filled this from flat empty to full in 8 minutes. Okay, so when I'm talking that it fills more quickly, it really fills more quickly. 8 minutes, and we were at 250 bar. So that is why this one is really my personal favorite. Can I say that? Am I allowed to say that? I'm going to say it. It really is. Just is. On the top off time to go from 150 to 250 bar, it was 1 minute 50 seconds. So if speed is the most important thing and you don't want to go to like a full-size compressor, you want to just dial in your pressure, hit go, and fill your gun quickly, this thing is awesome. And it fills to that 300 bar mark very, very well. If you need 4,500 PSI Hill, update the software. Do something to give us 4,500 PSI, would you? Would be really nice. But if you don't need 4,500 PSI, then this is certainly, I mean, it is the most expensive. And for that most expensive, it, by God, better do better than everything else. And it does. I mean, it beat the best time. It cut it in half. So to me, that's a pretty good boost in performance. Guys, that's going to be it for this series. If you have any questions about any of these products, you can look them up at www.airgunproshop.com. Also, in the video description, we'll have links to everything, and you guys can see that stuff. So that's it for now. My name is Rick Utzer here with Airgun Web for Modern Airgunner. If you have ideas that you'd like us to do a series on or things you'd like us to review or talk about, that's not just a hardcore airgun review, but it's maybe an accessory or some other part of the industry you want us to kind of get into, let us know, because that's what Modern Airgunner is all about. Guys, that's it for now. My name is Rick Utzer. Thanks for watching.